Good afternoon, evening, morning, or whichever is appropriate to you, Rebel. My name is Full Metal, and we're back in the new year, so Happy New Year to all of our coaches. This is the first episode of Foul Language this year, the 7th overall. I can't believe you guys still listen to these to make it worth doing. We've got our new Rebel stamp on the screen, because, we're working on making things a little bit prettier. And the views switch back on the replay, which is super upsetting. I am joined by Gerbear. You may know him as TheLordRK if you follow Twitch. He's a man of many names. You may also know him as the guy who's been asking the question, maybe orcs will work. However, he is my latest victim, or interviewee, maybe. So hello, Gerbear. Thanks for joining me, dude.
Hello. My name is...
Sorry, I was going to say, if you could just take a quick minute to introduce yourself, that'd be fantastic.
I was about to introduce myself without you asking.
That's fine. Well, it's not like it's my show or anything.
Well, my real name is Roy Kotek. I'm from Israel. I'm 17 years old and a high school student, while I'm also a university student. I'm doing a BA in economics.
Wow, high school and university at the same time? That sounds like you're a sucker for punishment. Well, you're a Blood Bowl coach, so you are a sucker for punishment. Yeah. Well, welcome anyway. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Congratulations so much on reaching the top 8 best coach. Well, the top the round of 8 section. Yes, that's right. Thinking of where you made it to in the playoffs. It's been a while since your game against Kool-Aid went off, but you are officially one of the 8 best coaches in Rebel, which is pretty impressive and quite exciting. Hopefully, next season may see even a push on that. But, without further ado, we're going to get into the questions. So, the format. You're going to get 16 questions and then a surprise overtime section, which we're not going to talk about till we get there, because it's no fun if it's not a surprise. So the first question, and, we're getting to the point now where we're getting a lot of regular questions, so it's not a commentary on the quality of the guest, as to that we're not having that many questions put forward by coaches. It's more a case of, because the regular questions have become so good, people just aren't asking new questions. So, the first question, how did you get into Blood Bowl?
Well, I joined during Blood Bowl 2. A friend of mine saw Krendor and the Polaris guys play Blood Bowl. They were really bad at it. And he told me that I might enjoy the game, because he knows that I enjoy strategy and luck-based games, for like Hearthstone, for example.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so just kind of picked it up from Blood Bowl 2. You're not like, you haven't played the tabletop or anything first.
Yeah, I didn't play the tabletop. Blood Bowl 1 is ugly and old, if you ask me. And Fumble is even more.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I couldn't get into Blood Bowl 1 or Fumble myself, so I definitely feel your pain there. Okay, so obviously, you start playing with Blood Bowl 2, so this is going to limit the questions available to here. But what team did you start with when you started playing Blood Bowl? And which team is your would you say was your first love?
My first team was a dwarf team, and I really hated them after 3 games. And I still hate them until now. And my first love was lizards, because lizards are great. They have both the strength and the agility, and they were rather simple to learn. And I took them when the World Cup was going. In the Blood Bowl Tactics World Cup qualifiers, I made it to playoff with them, which was really surprising because I was rather a new coach then.
So is that a commentary on Blood Bowl Tactics?
I actually lost to Mossman, who made it to top 8, I believe, or even top 4.
Well, to be fair, if you're going to losing to someone who goes almost all the way isn't a bad player.
Yeah.
So, okay, moving forwards, what is your favourite skill in the game, and what would you say your favourite player was?
My favourite skill is probably Mighty Blow, just because killing stuff is fun. And my favourite player, I really want to say Line Rats, because Line Rats are the master race.
Yeah, I've actually recently added you on Steam, and your name is Line Rat, man. That made me chuckle, I'm not going to lie.
Well, I did defeat Lupac many times on stream with a 14 Line Rat roster, which was pretty fun.
Playing Skaven, I don't know how. Line Rats were my fodder. I can't imagine just having Line Rats and going, yep, they're going to win.
You just play as if you're Gengar. You foul and foul and foul, and sometimes it works.
So, okay, not counting line rats then, what would be your favourite player?
Probably the Norse Berserker, just because they are awesome. With 16 SPP, you have a great bomber with jump up, block, and frenzy. They're pretty much the ideal killer without claw.
Alright, fantastic. And I kind of agree, the Berserker's a scary guy. Alright, this one is our first one from one of our viewers, and this is from Haringzord of the Bargain Boozers. Bit of a long question, but I do like this one. So, what is your favourite Blood Bowl matchup to play? Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be in terms of success rate, but it's just a matchup that you enjoy like, stomping or playing, or, you know, the ones that makes you think the most. You know, what race would you like to be, and what race would your opponent be if you had the perfect matchup?
That's a tough question. I really enjoy playing orcs against Norse, but that's because I'm playing Gengar usually when I do that.
Yeah, you and Gengar have developed a bit of a love-hate relationship. It's been quite enjoyable.
Killing him is really fun. Really, really fun.
Wow, I'm totally putting that as the tagline to this episode. I like that. So yeah, if you could choose, it would be the Gengar matchup.
Probably, if it's a generic matchup, I would say I like stomping Skaven with anything that got a lot of mighty blow. Killing rats is fun.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Right, now, if you could outright, like, straight up kill one player, not the coach, Squiggy hastens to add, but the player in Rebel, never be seen anywhere on the field ever again. So you could just say, okay, I'm going to drop a lightning bolt that's going to kill this coach, and he can't apple it. Which player would it be, and why? And that's from Mr. Squig.
I will probably kill Jerry, just because I don't like it when Nosedive is having fun.
Wow, another great quote from TheLordRK there. I like it. No, Nosedive is not allowed fun. Fantastic. Well, yeah, I think, to be honest, a lot of us would agree. You know, a lot of people like Jerry, but a lot of people don't like Jerry. So it's kind of interesting. But cool. All right, awesome. And you're just... I love this video in the background because it's just doing everything you've talked about. There's lots of piling on. There's lots of fouling. There's lots of trying to murder people. It's good crack. Okay, so we're going to move to a regular question. And this is one of the ones I particularly like. Whoever came up with this originally was clearly a genius. But if you could change one rule and one player in the game, what would you change?
A rule in Blood Bowl 2, I will probably change TV++, because I think it's really stupid to punish you for winning when you already have fan factor to add on that TV++, which really means that you usually play 200, 300, 500 TV down, which is dumb and unfair usually, and not fun.
Mm-hmm.
A player that I would change... that's a tough one. I would probably try to somehow nerf the Beastmans. No, that wouldn't work. No.
I can actually hear you thinking about this. This is quite good. I enjoy this. Putting the thumb screws to you. Like, what would you change? As I say, if you can't think of anything, if you like all the players, that's absolutely fine too. But it's just an interesting one to see what people think of the different balance of the teams. To be honest, although some people just go, "Yep, I'd like to make my favorite player stronger."
I can say that I want the Norse Berserkers to have claw, because technically Norse are chaos followers, but that would be stupid and very unfair.
God, can you imagine if you gave Gengar mutations? That would be the worst thing in the game.
No.
Yeah, okay. Well, as I say, if you want to think about that and come back to it, or, we can leave that one, that's fine. You got the rule, and I fully agree, TV++ is the work of the devil, and...
Yeah, it's just a horrible rule. At least we didn't get the full TV++, where if you have 10 wins, it means that you will get less inducements.
Wow, really? That was something they talked about?
Yeah, that was the original plan of Voodoo Mike, which was so dumb.
Yeah, because inducements already don't make up for TV differential after your wizard. Really, after the wizard, it gets bad.
Not playing a 500 TV down while giving out the wizard is really fun. I promise that.
Okay, so Now we've talked about him earlier already. Mentioned him a couple of times, but you know it was going to be inevitable. Gengar picked you to come on the show, so it was pretty much going to be inevitable that there was going to be a question about Gengar, and Sleaze or Lynx from the Capital Rats from the good old Big O. He's capable. He always brings fantastic questions. He wants to know: is Rebel your first love, or is Gengar your first love?
Probably Rebel.
Well,
I really enjoyed the league even before I faced Gengar. I faced Gengar in my 9th or 10th week of my first season here, which was a great match where I won. The only time one of us won against each other. He never defeated me. He only drew me. He lost that match. But the league was really fun. I think that one of my first matches were against Herringzod, the owner himself, which was a nice introduction to the league.
Yeah, Haringzod's a great guy, so it's actually really, I can imagine playing him be quite enjoyable. But yeah, I actually looked this up. I went and looked through the I think it's in Warhammer 40k, the term for you and Gengar. It's called, the Orcish word is Grod, Grod, which means favourite enemy. And I really think that applies to you and Gengar, because we've watched some we've seen the Zero Apple death match, and which, by the way, was insane. Why in God's name did you agree to that? That's, knowing you're going to playoffs, why did you agree to that?
I can't say no to something like that without being a pussy, and without everyone calling me a pussy and just saying, "Oh, look at that coward! He didn't agree to that really terrible idea of a no Apple match."
So, we've heard it here first, folks. Gerbear is, in fact, Marty McFly from Back to the Future. Do not call him yellow. No, as I say, I looked it up. As I say, Grod is the word for favoured enemy, and I think it's super awesome that you're both going to G-Man 1 next season, so you can continue that rivalry. And
we're going to kill all them.
Yeah, I think G-Man 1 are genuinely shaking in their boots, because G-Man 1's quite a civilised division, We kind of just, we don't usually play to kill unless it's me versus Kejaroos, and then it goes kind of messy.
That was brutal.
Yeah, you should have heard his own voice. I think I felt worse than he did. But anyway, yeah. Moving on, we've got the last question of the first half, and this is, Donkey Dragon asked this, I think, last week, and I liked it so much it's kind of sticking. Probably going to be a regular question until they change it. What do you think of the new... I mean, have you seen a lot of what's been happening on tabletop? I know you don't play it.
Yeah, I saw the new rules.
What do you think of them? And what's your opinion of the changes compared to the Cyanide version that we play?
I don't like the human catcher change and the pylon change, but outside of that, having the MVP be a pick of 3 players out of your team and not a random player sounds like a good idea. But the pylon change is really stupid.
Yeah, that benefits a lot of teams as well. I mean, certain teams where like, for example, you play Orcs, so I'm sure, if they brought that in, you'd be going, hey, 3 Black Orcs. Brilliant.
Yeah. Pretty much everyone's enjoyed that new rule of MVP. The only team that doesn't enjoy it as much is Elves, but fuck Elves.
Fantastic. Wow. What about the new, the fact that they're introducing new rules for new star players? How do you feel about that? Because this is something I actually want to talk about maybe on the podcast tonight. But as a little bit of an intro, what's your opinion on like these new star players? Like, for example, I don't know if you've seen them, but there's a new ogre, and it's called Grack and Crumbleberry, which is like an ogre halfling, a bit like Brickfarth and Grotty. Only instead of throw teammate, he's got kick teammate. And it's basically like a longer... It's like almost like a kick-off kick, but with a player.
Yeah, I saw him. He looks really, really fun, especially on a stunty team. Just throwing everything, every single turn. But I saw that he doesn't have loner, which is really odd, and I don't think that I like having star players without loner. It might be even overpowered for some teams.
I've got to say, I feel like that may be an errata that's coming in, and they just simply have... Because, it's not like they haven't misprinted other things with the tabletop edition of Blood Bowl 2016, but I feel like potentially that's going to be errated back in to give him Loner, because you can't have a star without Loner. It just doesn't feel right.
An ogre without loner is pretty insane for 210,000
Yeah, well, the fact that you get
gold.
2 players for 210k, I mean, that's what? That's ridiculous. That's so cheap.
Yeah. The other player is a halfling.
Well, yeah, but he's still an extra body. I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with adding the rules, but anyway, yeah, I just wanted to kind of get your feel on that, and that's fantastic. I think yours echoes a lot of people. Is stop mucking about with piling on, because it's good, it works. But yeah, excuse me. That brings us to the close of the first half. We've survived the first 8 questions. We're going to move to the second half, and we're going to start with, I think, a question that was always going to be asked, knowing your team name, and something that if it wasn't asked, I was going to ask. Unstabler from Where Evolutionary really wants to know, how big of a Hearthstone nerd are you actually?
I used to play a lot more around half a year ago, or even a year ago. I did play a lot, and I really enjoyed the game, but right now I'm playing more casually. When I opened the team, I used to play like 3 hours on average a day of Hearthstone and much less of Blood Bowl, but now I play mostly Blood Bowl.
Okay. I mean, is it the what's your favorite modes in Hearthstone? Is it Arena? Is it Constructed? Is it Adventures?
I preferred Constructed, usually until they nerfed the Green Patron, which made the meta really stupid and really aggro-based, and now I mostly play Arena, but both modes are fun.
Okay, fantastic. I actually do enjoy Hearthstone as well, so it's kind of it was something I was gonna always ask, but yeah, I always looked at the naming scheme and went, yeah, well, I don't get what Orcs working has to do with Hearthstone, but okay, we'll go with it. It's fine.
Well, Smork is the national emote for going face.
That fair. Okay, yeah, I like that. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for that. Bit of insight there. I love the thought that coaches put into their team names and teams and stuff. So I like that there's a link across that. Yeah, that's cool. Right. So Dreamify from the Jungle Corsairs wants to know, and I think he's got a bit of a vested interest in knowing this, being as he is in Division 1. But what do you look forward to the most about playing in G-Man 1 in your coming season?
Probably killing all the elves. Or maybe introducing some new positionals like the Dark Elf Catcher, which is a 6'2", Force 8 player, or the War Dancer Catcher, which is much better.
Start busting some elves. Yeah, I like it. Well, as I said, Dreamify is asking that because, of course, he is a Dark Elf coach in G-Man Div 1, so he's probably fearing for his elves. And to be fair, his elves survive. From experience, his elves have survived the beating, so you may have to really put the boot to them. But if anyone can do it, I believe you and Gengar can.
Yeah, we're really experienced in booting stuff.
Okay, so King of the Cosmos asked this, I think it was last week again, and it's one that I'm adopting. But if you yourself were a star player, what skills would you have? Not necessarily stat line, but just skills. What level ups would you have taken?
I would probably have Mighty Blow and Block, because I want to be consistent and somewhat good. But outside of that, I would maybe even give myself Pylon, because I like to kill stuff. And Pylon is a great skill. And there is no Pylon star player right now, I believe, so that might be fun to introduce a Pylon star player.
Okay, so you'd be the guy you'd be the go-to guy for killing stuff. Which teams would you play for? I'm adding that to the question.
I play for Orcs and Orcs because they are my favorite teams. And probably for Halflings, just because they need another big can punch.
Great. Wow, and was that the score on a Black Orc in the background? Jesus. Huffer. Yeah.
I scored twice with the same Black Orc that game.
So, you know, it was that charge that he gets on Huffer, was it? That did the work for you there?
He's fast. He can attack immediately.
I love it. That's fantastic. Okay, so This was again Walkathon. This is a new one. This this one I think Walkathon asked this last week of Gengar, and again it was such a good question because you and Gengar, in my mind, have quite similar playstyles, which is murder everything and worry about the ball secondary. So what, in your opinion, is the most satisfying player to kill in all of Blood Bowl? Who do you enjoy putting the boot to and watching them die?
The favorite player of the opposing coach.
So it doesn't matter what they are as long as it's the opponent's best player.
Well, even if it's a good player, if the opposing coach doesn't care about it, it isn't as fun.
Wow, that's really sadistic. I love it. Okay. Nice and short though, but yeah, to the point. I like that. Okay, so this is a two-part question from Sleaze again from the Capital Rats because he really does put a lot of thought and time in. Although he wanted to let me know that he's super sorry that it was like the last-minute question coming through because he was on a plane and forgot and was in a spin game, and then I poked him to tell him he had to ask a question. He was like, "Oh, thank you." But yes, he wants to know: do you watch and keep up with the leagues as they're going on? The content that we put out, the recaps, things like that. And moving on from that question, is there anything you'd like to change about what we do here?
I enjoy watching most of the content from Rebel. I can't really follow all the leagues because there are about 100 of games each week played. I usually try to keep track of G-Man Div 1 and Rel Div 1 and the playoffs. And I watch most of the podcasts and foul language.
Awesome. So what would you have us change, if anything, about what we do? Is there anything you want, like format changes, or that you'd like more of or less of, or
less of nosedive? I really.
And you also did say to me as well you want more regular recaps, which is something that we're looking at, because that was something we talked about before the show.
Yeah. More recaps would be amazing.
Well,
they are really fun to watch.
Stay tuned because we've got some surprises coming up for the recaps this next season. We're just putting the final touches to them, so hopefully by week 1, our new recap shows will be going live. So that's a nice little bit of a plug for us. So thank you for leading into that. But yeah, we're also going to have more games than ever being played because between us and Squiggy's Rookies, who are part of obviously the Rebel now, we have over 270 coaches signed up already, which is
that's a lot.
Yeah, you're telling me. We were looking at this league going, right, we need to make... I think Rel are up to 6 divisions next season, with a week to go. So, yeah. Right. Dreamer5, Jungle Corsairs, came in again last week with a fantastic question that I wanted to add this week as well. How was your playstyle? Because obviously you were new to Blood Bowl with Blood Bowl 2. So how has your playstyle changed over time as you've learnt the game and gotten more experienced? What skills have you picked up that you didn't have originally, and how have you changed your attitude to the game?
I think I became better at defending because I find getting the ball to the other side not that difficult usually, but knowing how to stall and how to protect the ball correctly and defend from an offense is very important, and that is the main skill I learned during my time playing that Blood Bowl, and it's probably the most important skill any coach learns.
All right, yeah, cool.
About some skills, I think that I slowly began to take more Mighty Blow and Guard and play more Strength team over Agi teams with time.
Okay. Yeah, you did say you obviously started with Dwarves, so you kind of went Strength, then played some Agi, then came back to Strength. Is that kind of how it worked out?
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Right, obviously we've mentioned Hearthstone, but one of our regular questions: what other games do you play at the moment?
I play sometimes Hearthstone, and I play Battle Right, which is a mobile game. It's really fun with some friend every once in a while.
Okay, I actually do play a lot of Battle Right myself, and it's quite satisfying because most everything's like skill shots and things like that. So it's actually a super satisfying game to play, and I would actually recommend it. Now, following on from that, what would you say your favourite, other than Blood Bowl 2, what is your favourite game of say, the last 10 years? That's some kind of wizard of Ice and Dire. What is it, other than Blood Bowl, that you've enjoyed the most?
I think that Undertale must take that title. It was a great experience to play in my first walkthrough of it, and even going back to it after my first walkthrough to try some funky stuff like killing everything was still interesting.
And it is a bit of shameless self-promotion. I did actually stream Undertale a couple of months ago. Did you actually catch the Undertale
Yeah, I was
pacifist?
there.
Yeah, because you are quite a regular in my Twitch chat, which I am insanely thankful for. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah. Okay, so I've got one more question to add, and this is kind of because the last two were kind of linked together. I see. I'm looking at your team at the moment because they're obviously in the recap in the back, the match in the background where you were playing poor old Mr. Raki and killed one of his knights who was very well skilled, which is unfortunate for poor old Raki. But I can see you've got Pro on your Blitzer. Would you like to take a minute to talk about Pro?
Well, I took Pro mostly because I know that I'm going to face a lot of elves next season, where I believe that they will have sidestep nearly always. And against sidestep, taking frenzy is rather risky because you might frenzy trap and you might not be able to actually get those 4 dice and only get 2 and then 2 red dice. So I prefer going Pro because it still allows me to get more dice against an important target without needing to deal with the fact that I'm going to frenzy. And gridding, piling on mighty blow hits is nice to do, but usually wasting a team reroll on that is very, very risky, and I can't afford that on an orc team that isn't very fast.
Okay, I actually agree a lot. I really like Pro, and I think it was probably from watching. I know obviously you're a regular in Lupac's chat as well, and he took it on one of his beastmen, and I loved the actual effect that Pro had there. So yeah, no, I agree a lot. I like Pro very very much.
I
But anyway,
usually
sorry.
I usually prefer to take pro on a jump up player because it works really, really well because you never want to team reroll a jump up. But even without it, it's still a solid skill as a rather late skill for a killer or any big guy.
All right, fantastic. Now, we are in the overtime now. We've survived our 16 turns, so well done there. Thank you for answering those questions. Now, this is something, again, the overtime's always a bit of a random thing. Sometimes it's 5 rapid-fire questions. Sometimes it's something a little more thought out that I want you to talk a bit about. And it's something that we're definitely going to be hashing out after this video. But I wanted you to quickly talk about Clan League. 60 seconds or less. Tell us about Clan League and why it's the best thing that's going to happen to Rebel this new season.
Well, Clan League is a format that makes Blood Bowl, instead of a 1v1 game, into a more of a team-based team game, where instead of calling it Team of Teams, because that is really, really confusing, we call the Team of Teams a clan, where each clan has 5 coaches, and they work as a group against other clans. The way that the clan matching works is we have a draft where one clan goes first. It says, I want to this player, I nominate him for the first match, and then the second clan counters him, and then the second clan goes, I nominate this player for the second match, and so on until 5 matches are made. And the winner of 3 out of 5 matches is the winner of the clan war that was between the 2 clans. And it's a really fun format because you have friends that are on your side, which is really, really unique to Blood Bowl, where it's a game that you pretty much try to kill everything. I don't know anyone who would do that, but some people do that. And just having a someone that you know, that having a team with you and people that you can rely on sometimes helps you know that even if the dice sucks, you can still win, which is really, really nice. And just having friends to talk about it, about your next match with, because it matters to them as well, is nice to have, because sometimes you have a boring next matchup, but you still want to talk about it because you care about the league.
Mm-hmm. All right, fantastic. Well, that's something that we're going to hash out, but keep your eyes peeled, guys, because there will be some sign-ups opening and some discussion about who's going to be our clan leaders and how the clan system is going to work. But it's definitely something that could very well be coming to Rebel very, very soon. Thanks mostly in part to your input. As I say, it's something that I'm going to speak to you separately about shortly. But that was it, guys. That was Foul Language. That was 16 questions, 16 turns on the pitch with Gerbear, also known as LordRK. Is there anything you'd like to say before we go?
Kill all the elves.
That's a fair response. Thank you so much for joining me, LordRK. It's been a genuine pleasure. As I say, if you're going, but his name's Gerbear. He's LordRK on Twitch. That's how I met him. He'll always be LordRK to me. Was it taken in Blood Bowl, or did you just decide Gerbear was...
Originally, my Twitch account is rather old, so I used TheLordRK, and when I played World of Warcraft, I wanted something that wasn't so clunky as a name, that could actually sound like a name and not a title. So I came up with Gerbear for a silly reason that is somehow related to baby food. And that name sticks.
Alright, fantastic. Well, that was the bonus question, guys. Now, quick announcement. We are going to have Luminous. I normally ask in advance, but I really wanted to get Luminous in. I've been waiting to talk to Luminous for a little while. And also I was badgered because some people said I've been favouring G-Man too much. And that's mostly because I'm going to be interviewing Luminous at 2 in the morning, my time, because of time difference. So that's fun. Thanks, guys, for wanting more rel coaches. I love you, really. But yeah, we've got Luminous Light in next week, so please do get your questions in. There'll be a thread shortly after this gets posted. Once again, Gerbear, thank you for your time. It's been a genuine pleasure chatting to you.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime, and I look forward to seeing how, if you continue the question, will orcs work in the next season of G-Man?
Hopefully they would.
Well, you know, I'm sure there's plenty of people in G-Man 1 saying hopefully not. But thank you again. You guys stay classy. I'll see you next time, folks.